This week, I was participating in a TV debate where the issue was that does the government or do the politicians like wealth creation?
एंटरप्रेन्योर्स इस देश के खिलाफ काम कर रहे हैं।
ये वाला चीज काफी अजीब चीज है कि हम हमेशा जब हमारे मैंने किसी भी देश में इस डिबेट ऐसा डिबेट नहीं देखा है कि हम लोग डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टर्स को गाली देना.
It's an interesting thing, and on that I'll take on two particular events that have happened recently. One is the debate in Parliament again about the big boys of Indian business, the Adani and the Ambani group, or what do they represent, the Prime Minister's rebuttal on it. And the second is a slightly different thing, which is the Securities and Exchange Board of India's restrictions on the futures and options market, primarily for retail investors. But before we go there, just again, the usual point, remember, as a maverick observer of the Indian economy, I like to take these discussions with you and enjoy them, and I hope you also enjoy those. But for us both to have a chance at the participation, remember, whenever a new episode comes on, do click on the subscriber icon. That is basically the bell icon on the YouTube channel. If you do that, you will ensure that any new episode you do not miss. Now, back to our story. Look, this Adani Ambani thing is a serious business. If we are really going to get anywhere over the next few years on any clear idea of what is it to be a business, then we need to sort out this thing, and that is why I've raised this issue. Who or where would we be getting investments if not industrialists? But the problem runs deeper. It's not about one particular party shooting its mouth. It's the government also. Remember, we have got this authority, which is the anti-profiteering authority, so that whenever prices rise, that anti-profiteering authority gets into the business to try to cut profits. Essentially, both sides of the bargain believe that making profit, making wealth is not something that is a happy circumstance. And that idea seeps into the regulators. So, we have therefore plenty of investment opportunities, but very few that are being materialized. Classic example, mining. The critical minerals are lying there, but for since January 2024, there have been 3 occasions when the Ministry of Mines have come out with the auctions. There have been no bidders. Why? Because investors don't want to put serious money when they are not sure which government or which party in power will not reverse those policies. The same thing happens for other investments also. Remember, there is a problem that about, say, the Dharavi industrial development. Again, it's Adani, but the larger point is that these are questioned repeatedly. In earlier eras, when Hindalco was trying to operate the Talabira mines, that was the core of the coal scam. The parties today in government were then in opposition and crying themselves hoarse about favoritism. This is the challenge. We need to respect wealth creators, and this has been said by so many authorities. And when we don't do so, our regulators also get into this problem. An example, in the Parliament debate that's been going on, there has been no mention of the capital gains tax issue. Now, you can argue whether it's the right tax to levy or the wrong tax to levy, but the point is, a tax which is taxing the middle class or anybody who's made profits is supposed to be is supposed to be fair as long as the government gets the money. Where does this thing come from? And more important, how does it impact us? Take the example of the draft regulations that SEBI has announced on the futures and options market. Just a minute about futures and options. What's the futures and options? In a market, when I sell or buy a share, that's for immediate delivery, the cash market. A futures and options is the same buying and the selling but happening in futures at some other time. So it means that the investor is taking a call whether the prices of the share will rise or fall. That's fair enough. It is something which is legitimate. It is something in which lots of Indians as of now feel that it is an interesting area to invest in. But SEBI has come up with draft regulations limiting the scope of retail investors to go into it. Why? Because we are again scared that somebody will lose their money. It's a legitimate market. People will lose their money just as people will make their money. SEBI's site itself shows data about more people losing money than gaining money in this market. So what's our problem? Our problem comes from the same anti-profiteering authority, the same tirade against Indian industrialists, the Adanis, the Ambanis and so on. Today Adani, the Ambanis, yesterday there was Tata and Birla. But the point is the same. So what has SEBI done? To compare that simply, when a person goes into buying a house, what does he do? He also does the futures and options. She says that I think this particular house in this particular locality will appreciate in value. So she buys the house and waits for the price to rise and then makes a sale. We don't cavil at that. Yet in the housing market, information is hard to come by. People often will not get adequate information. I have more details of this in my substack, but the short of it is that given the real estate market's ambiguities, the stock market is a far more regulated entity. There's information all over the place. People buy and sell knowing fully well the hazards, the risks, the data, with the data that's there. So why get into this business of trying to protect them? But it comes again from that same mentality. Wealth creation? No. So while the big parliamentary leaders talk about the leaders, the industrial leaders making wealth, apparently not spreading it out. So tomorrow again, when the Ola, the Uber, the Oyo, the Zomatos will make money, they will again be facing the flak, just as Adani and Ambani are facing the flak today. Ditto. The same thing happens at supposedly the middle class level. Stop the retail investors from getting into the futures and options market. The farmers, remember, are stymied because they don't have a futures and options market. We are trying to create, the agricultural reforms is about giving them those futures and options market. And here we are saying retail investors in the share market will not be allowed to fully play in the futures and options market. What does it show? Again, a sort of almost, I should say, pathological fear of wealth creation. And that's all from this edition of On Point. For a detailed description of what we discussed here, please visit my Substack. The link is in the description below. Thank you.